Stop messing around, stop fooling around, stop delaying, stop procrastinating. Get up, get out, get it done. Everything is possible, nothing is a problem, and anything can be overcome. I just get my ass up out of bed, I get my shit together, and I get out and I start the fight. And that will transform you from a mere mortal into a superhuman being. I've never, ever, ever met anybody who told me that they got rich watching their IRA or their 401k. I learned that the way people responded to that last video on the 99% really just reinforced that the way of thinking is so much part of the myth in the story. I don't believe that when we refer to the 99% and the 1% that we're talking about income and wealth. Ultimately, that's where the 99 and 1% conversation goes. We talk about the 1% that control all the wealth. I think we're really talking about that 99% of the people think a certain way and 1% think a different way. I think it's a matter of thinking that we're fragmenting out the 99 and the 1. I think 99% of the people think the way that our educational system is set up to make us think. I think that 1% of the people don't think like that. They think more independently, more creatively, more like problem solvers, and that's what enables them to be entrepreneurs and to accumulate wealth. You can't please everybody all the time. You have to choose the things that are going to have the biggest impact on the most amount of people. Our educational system, there's no way to have an educational system that addresses the myriad, the thousands of different mind types. And so everyone's got to fit into a box. So I think that when we talk about the 99%, we're talking about how all of us fit into this box created by our educational system. I don't think it was malicious. I don't think the they behind it is some conspiracy theory. I don't offer up this opinion as a conspiracy theorist. I just, when you create something for the people, it's got to be for most people. There's always going to be people that don't fit into that box. And
I think that makes sense to focusing on what we're doing here with this podcast is what actionable steps can you take to lead to success? That obviously, at least I don't want to speak for you, but from my perception, luck can contribute to it. You can be born into money. You can be born into certain situations that are more helpful. But focusing on that is never going to lead to actionable steps that provide success.
Most of the wealth in our country is controlled by people that weren't born into it. Yeah. Sure, there's those examples, but most of the wealth in our country is controlled and has been earned by people that worked their way into it, that problem solved their way into it, that thought differently than the 99% and were able to create something for themselves to generate this wealth, be it businesses, be it technology, be it patents, be it accumulation of assets, whatever their way was. So that last TikTok video we did on the myths of the 99%, it pissed a lot of people off. It encouraged some other people, but a lot of people were sort of hate trolling in on that video and leaving comments. And it was amazing to me to see the inability to break free of the 99% way of thinking that I'm suggesting perhaps exists out there. We're all in the same school system. We're all in the same political system. We're all in the same societal system. And again, not as a conspiracy theorist, but just you have to have boundaries, you have to have structure in the world that we live. Well, our structure leads us to think certain ways. I beg everybody, try and find new ways to think. Start over, start from scratch. Forget the things that you've learned without forgetting them, and be open to these new things and these new concepts. Change requires change. If you want change, you have to do things differently. If you want things to be different, you have to make them different. How do you do that? It starts with your mind, your mindset, and the way you think. The 1% mindset will say, when they get to face an obstacle or challenge, they'll say, how can I overcome that obstacle? How can I push through that challenge? The 99% mindset will say, oh man, there's a roadblock in front of me. There's something I can't get around. I'll just stop. I'll just turn and go a different way. I won't move forward. The person that has the right mindset will say, oh man, that person's super successful over there. How can I be like that? How can I get to be super successful? The 99% mindset will say, oh man, that person's super successful over there. That's not for me. I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do that. I mean, it's something so minute, yet so massive, that will impact you for the rest of your life if you just can't adjust your mindset the right way. So adjust your mindset.
Well, welcome to the Daily Cash Flow, everybody. My name's George.
My name is Peter. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. So, Peter, we haven't seen each other in a little while.
We haven't. You are handsome. You look great. Are you still a flower in 2021?
I am still a flower. When the sun came out today, I was in full blossom.
How long are you planking for?
I'm actually back down to 5 minutes because I've been working on form. And
form. So you were doing 10-minute planks, but in poor form?
I think so, actually. I'm going to say it was still a legit 10 plank. But when you put your heels against the wall, it engages your core a little bit more and engages different parts of your body. And so I've been working on that a little bit more. And so I'm back down to 5.
All right.
Also just because 10 minutes is excessive.
All right.
So what did you learn in 2020, Peter?
What have I learned in 2020?
Yeah. Looking back.
Well, I think the one thing that I learned that I saw a lot of other people learn as well is that we don't need as much as we think we need. In terms of stuff, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of material things. As consumers, we're part of this massive consumer engine. And before the pandemic of 2020, our daily lives, we consume so much and we hoard and purchase and use. And that's all part of the economic and social engine. But that all came to a screeching halt in 2020. We had to figure out, what are we going to do now, right? We don't need all that stuff. We don't have the money to buy all that stuff, or we're going to choose not to buy all that other stuff. We're going to save our money. So we didn't travel. We didn't go to restaurants, obviously. We weren't entertained in the same ways. And I learned that I just don't need all that stuff. But I was reminded of and reinforced of other things in addition to maybe what I had learned. I think the value of the pivot I was reminded of. I saw lots of people pivot away from their job or career that was being impacted and problem solving their way into something else quickly. I love seeing that, and I was reminded how important that was. I was really reminded about being able to anticipate and being prepared for all the possible outcomes that you can imagine and having a scenario set up for all of those possible outcomes. That helped me get through a lot of the earlier part of 2020, certainly March, April, May, June. I had scenarios worked out and paths cleared for all the various outcomes that have occurred for the different parts of my life and business. And that helped me sleep at night, just knowing that I had a lot of those bases covered, what I thought was covered. I tell you, I was reminded this year how much our political landscape is such theater, and it bums me out. I really believe that our government and politics should be for the people and about the people. And whenever I'm reminded of these big glaring events that occur that just tell me that a lot of it's theater, a lot of it's puppetry, and it bums me out. So I don't take that stuff with any pleasure, but I saw a lot of that this year. I was reminded that nothing in life is guaranteed. So I feel even more strongly about appreciating what you have and really striving for what you want, because you have limited amounts of time, and the conditions that we have, the arena in which we operate in, can change at any moment. Look at this year, man. So the arena changed. The rules of the games changed. Our environment in which we are operating is completely different this year. And it might not have allowed a lot of us to achieve the things that we thought we wanted. So we have to do that pivot and go for other things. So that's what I think I've learned and was reminded of this year. You know what's funny? Personal savings and personal income went up this year. Of all this, despite mass unemployment, despite wages, despite a pandemic, despite industries going under, restaurants, bars, entertainment, Broadway, movie theaters, all this stuff, right? All the pain, all the blood, all the suffering. Despite all that, incomes went up. Yeah. And what did we do when incomes went up? We spent a little bit on some new stuff, a little bit on the same stuff, and a whole lot of nothing on a whole bunch of stuff. So how could it be that markets are doing well, that our personal incomes have gone up during a pandemic with mass unemployment? It's fucking bananas, right? $499 billion worth of unemployment benefits flooding into the marketplace. $276 billion of personal stimulus checks also flooding into the marketplace. You have various forms of other personal income just from industry increasing by about 260 billion. And what happened? All this income went up, spending went down 535 billion. So we have all this increase in income, and we have a massive reduction in spending. Result is we're saving more, we're buying durable goods, we're buying things that we can use now to entertain ourselves now, because we're not going out to movies, we're not traveling to Vegas, we're not going to Miami, we're not going to St. Bart's. So what are we going to do? We're buying TVs, we're renovating houses, we're buying outdoor and recreational goods. And those markets are on fire. There's a lot of money in the system now that wasn't there at the beginning of 2020. So that's how markets are doing well during a pandemic. So George, the question's going to be, will these income and spending shifts stick around post-COVID? Are they going to maintain? Are they going to bounce back and rubber band back to where they were at the beginning of 2020 when people are flying on airplanes, staying in hotels, going to Vegas, going to shows, right? All that stuff. I don't know if consumer behaviors are going to stay where they are now or if they're going to rubber band back. It's unpredictable for sure. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. People are sitting on lots of money. Despite the unemployment, despite the pain, despite the wage carnage, big shifts, massive societal shifts are happening right now. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We were talking about just market performance in general, but something I've wondered for a little while is how you determined which markets you were going to focus on in the past and,
for investing
in the present. Yeah, for investing, for starting businesses. When you went out to Upper Manhattan and here in the Jersey Shore, what dictated that?
Yeah, so you need a business-friendly environment, local political environment, which is conducive for investment, conducive for businesses. Not all of them are. You need a business-friendly environment. You need good job growth. You need a good employer base with more employers coming in. All that stuff can be researched. You can find that stuff out. You need access to culture, entertainment, sports, nightlife, transportation. All that stuff has part of the recipe. If you have those things, you're likely in an environment that's ripe for investing and for taking risk. What you want to avoid is taking risk and investing in environments where there's lots of political instability, where there's local or regional governments that restrict investment, that restrict entrepreneurship, that restrict businesses and business growth. You want to be in an area where businesses want to flock to. They want to hire people. Those people are going to want to live nearby, and they're going to want to consume other goods and services nearby, perhaps your real estate. You're going to want to invest in an area where there's great median income and stable income growth. I mean, all of those things are absolutely paramount for me before I'll invest $1. Yeah. There's a lot of areas. So we're in the tri-state New York metropolitan area. There's a lot of areas around here where I won't invest in. New Jersey is a tough state anyway. There's a lot of restrictions and a lot of tough things about New Jersey. Politically, it's a crazy place. That might be a separate podcast on its own. But there are pockets of New Jersey that have a healthy job growth, healthy median income, good local political environment that's conducive to investing. So I seek those out. New York is another one of these places it's so densely populated, you really have to read between the lines and find the spots and pockets. It's not statewide. I'm not giving my blessing to any one place as a blanket blessing. You really have to find pockets and niche areas. I think the United States is a great place to invest. I think the United States is a great place to own businesses and own real estate and make a go of things. But within the broad definition of the United States, I think there's pockets and areas that outperform others. And for me, I want friendly regulation, I want business-friendly environment, I want stable politics, and I want good job growth and income.
How do you research that kind of thing?
You can research it. It's out there. I mean, there's all sorts of economist reports and business reports that have lists and statistical data compiled from various different sources where you can look up and see what the best 10 metropolitan areas are for rent growth, what the best areas are for suburban investment, you can Google all that stuff.
Does competition play into it all? Is that something you're aware of when you go in?
Competition's a factor. I mean, people are afraid of competition. I think competition reinforces a healthy marketplace, and it also makes you sharper as an investor and a business operator. I welcome competition because it makes me work that much harder to be number one in my market, to be number one in my industry. So I don't mind competition. People talk about the blue ocean effect of no competition, wide open playing field. It's yours to take, and build up your infrastructure, invest the capital, and the whole market's yours. I don't know where that is. And I don't know what that's about. I've never experienced that.
In effect, that is more reflective of a lack of demand than it is a lack of competition.
I think so. I think so. I don't mind being in a competitive environment as long as there's enough for everybody. If it's overly competitive and there isn't enough to go around for everybody, that might be a little restrictive, but a healthy competitive environment, bring it on.
Work from home is clearly here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future.
Forever.
How do you maintain a strong team remotely? And what's some advice that you would give managers?
It's hard. It's not easy. You have to ring lead. You have to corral. It takes work. Like anything, it takes work. So, you just got to do it, man. If you're a manager, if you're a leader, if you're a business owner, if you run teams, you got to organize. You got to organize it. You got to corral your people. You got to get them together. There have to be core objectives that everybody's driving towards. So I'd have clearly defined objectives. I'd write them out. I'd send them out to everybody, make sure that everybody knows what the goals and objectives are. And it starts with the top. It starts with leadership, and then it goes down to the team. So you have to embody those goals and objectives. You have to be the one that's the example. You have to lead and by example and set the example. But you have to get everybody together. You can't just flap in the breeze and hope that everyone's getting it. And you can't just not be engaged and hope that everyone's working through it. You got to stay in touch with anything.
Do you have specific ways that you prefer to get in touch? Email, phone, Slack, all of the above?
Well, we do all that stuff. We do all that stuff. And it all works okay. It's not as great as getting face-to-face. It's not as great as being together, like any relationship. It's not as great as being face-to-face, but we make it work right now, and we'll get through it. But it's work. You have to schedule the meetings. You have to make sure everyone shows up. You got to get it done. You get it done. Work from home is not a reason to fall apart. Just do something new. Keep it together.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
3 to 5 things to win the deal.
What deal?
When you think about that word deal, what is it that you think
So
of?
for me, in my world, I'm going after real estate acquisitions, so real estate purchases, real estate deals. I have to cater my bid and my offer and my performance to my seller and to the opportunity. Price, terms, timing, certainty of closing. Those are the things that I can offer a seller to outshine and to really compete with whoever else is out there going for the same deal. I'll tell you how not to win a deal is don't start asking for too much. Don't start obligating the other side to too much. Don't start unobligating yourself. Obligate yourself, let them roam free. You perform, put the burden of performance on you as the buyer in a competitive market. That's how you're going to win deals. But if you say you want contingencies and you want inspections and you want 52 different ways to get out of it if you need to get out of it, and if you want to be able to spin it so that your seller owes you $100,000 because you found a leaky toilet, you're never going to get a deal. So go in with certainty, go in with confidence, and perform. You got to perform. I've never not performed. That's how I get deals. And I think that goes with anything, personal relationships, business relationships. If there's something you want, let the other side feel warm and fuzzy and certain that you're going to give it to them. That's your job. Day to day, personal relationships, business relationships, people want things from you. You're going to give it to them. That's how success is created. If you're going to find loopholes to get out of it, you have to manage risk. You have to know your downside. But otherwise, perform. That's how you win deals. That's your question. How do you win deals? Win deals by performing.
We've talked about morning routines before.
Yeah.
What is your bedtime routine? Do you have one? Do you have meditation? What's
I try to meditate at night. I stretch at night, not every night. I meditate at night, most nights. Drink a lot of water. Try to wind down. My brain takes a long time to wind down, so I try to distract it with a little bit of social media, a little bit of reading the newspaper, anything that'll just sort of decompress the mind a little bit. It's tough for me when I eat late. I try to eat my dinner early to give my body time to expend the energy necessary to digest before I then go to bed. I don't want to eat. If I eat at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, something like that, messes me up a little bit. I respect those cultures that eat late. Spain, my Spanish friends.
It's 1 a.m.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't hang with you that late, but it's a great thing. But that's my routine. I just gotta, you know what I do, George? I look at my calendar for the next day. I look at it, I get it visually in my sights. I think about what I got coming up the next day, go to sleep, wake up, I know immediately what I got to do because I looked at it 8 hours ago.
Yeah. And the last question for today. You've touched on a few different things that you like to do for exercise, surfing, skiing, all that kind of stuff. What's your favorite way to stay in shape, to stay healthy?
The activities, the experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to do a lot of training, and then I'd go ahead and do the activity after I trained. Now, at 52, I just like doing the activity. That's the most joy I get. I really love, a day of skiing is 800 calories an hour if you ski hard, like I ski. A day of surfing, if you're in the water 2-3 hours, it's rough. You're getting a real workout. So I just like doing the activity itself. I'm going to get more into yoga and Pilates in the upcoming years. This year, I hope.
Is that your New Year's resolution?
No, it's not. But I just the weights and all that stuff's really good. I get injured a lot from doing a lot of these different things. So I'm trying to do more low impact stuff and things that focus on flexibility and core. So I'm going to try and develop some of those areas for me.
Yeah, yoga is a huge game changer for me when I started.
Yeah?
That's a big part of my life.
Yeah, well, that's because you're a string bean. For those of you that have never seen George, because he's off camera, he's built like a string bean. He's like 6'3", he's 148 pounds soaking wet, and he's 4% body fat.
Yeah, I love start my year off with some good flattery. So,
yeah.
All right, well, thanks so much, Peter. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, George.
And I'll see you next week.
See you.
If you like what you just heard, you can subscribe to The Daily Cash Flow on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'd love it if you left us a review. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at SiegelCap and on Instagram at Siegel.cap. As always, if you're an accredited investor, go to SiegelCapital.com and take our survey to see if you qualify to take part in one of our apartment building deals. That's SIEGEL Capital.com.